Are you tired of consuming news because you feel it's too negative and depressing? Then you're not alone. Over a third of people worldwide say they often or sometimes avoid the news because it makes them feel anxious, hopeless, and helpless. But don't despair. There are actually lots of strategies you can adopt in order to stay informed while taking care of your mental health. And I'll get to them in just a minute. But first, let's take a look at how we got here in the first place. One of the reasons behind news fatigue is our constant connectivity. We consume more news from more sources than ever before.
And often that news is relentlessly depressing. So you're scrolling through social media and it's one bad story after another.
It's understandable that we then rather avoid the news when we're online. Even I, as a journalist, often can't take all the negative news that's thrown at me all the time anymore.
I'm seriously worried because we know that issues like climate anxiety or just overall depression are on the rise, and this is not only due to the state of the world as it is, but also due to the way it is often framed and presented in the news.
So why does news have to be so negative? There's a saying in journalism: if it bleeds, it leads.
That's the basis of the news media's business model, is grab attention through triggering fear, alarm, and drama, and then sell that content or sell the advertising. Once you've got that attention.
The chasing of the clicks has really intensified this sense that, negative news is what sells, it's what the algorithm likes, and so more and more of it is being produced.
The problem is, the more horrific images are, the more of an impact they have on our mental health. But that said, it's still important to consume the news.
If people are disengaged from the news, and we see increasing disengagement in our data, then they're also being disengaged from democracy and from voting and from interest in politics, and that's deeply undermining of our societies.
So how can we consume the news more safely? Remember those tips I wanted to give you. Journalists, including myself, have developed a way of making news feel less overwhelming, disempowering, and hopeless. It's called solution-based or constructive journalism.
Solution-focused journalism brings the same standards and the same techniques and approach of any good journalism. You're still pursuing truth, accuracy, you're still holding power to account, but it's a different mindset. You can grab people's attention and engage people through stories about progress and positive change because people are inspired and motivated, and it stirs optimism and connection.
And it turns out that's exactly what many of you want. 62% of people worldwide who don't avoid the news say they are interested in constructive or solution-based journalism approaches.
I think this data is a wake-up call. It's a wake-up call for the news industry. It's a sense that there is a mismatch between what we're providing and what people want. Some
media outlets already solely focus on solutions journalism, and the feedback of their audience is extremely positive.
They come away feeling that their actions matter, that there's actions that they can take that could make a difference. So it gives people agency.
But it's not just media providers that need to make a change in the way they report. There are a couple of things that you can try out too, like managing your screen time and notifications.
One very good idea is definitely to reserve off time, to really detach from the phone, from whatever media you use for a certain period, not to read news first thing in the morning, even before coffee, not to read news on the phone in bed before you go to sleep.
That's of course easier said than done when you're living in a place that's been affected by wars, climate change, natural disasters or crises. But even then, the kind of information you consume can have an impact on your well-being.
Seek for news portals that really provide you with context, with nuances, with background, not with the most striking headline, the most striking videos.
In the long run, constructive journalism could even be a game changer for society at large.
We need to uncover the progress that's happening, the opportunities for positive change, because when our attention's brought to that as a society, then resources and energy are going to follow it and accelerate those solutions.
What are your strategies to stay informed without losing hope? Let us know in the comments.